How you doing, family? Welcome to my video. Try to take a few minutes to inform you and enlighten you, hopefully motivate and inspire you to try or at least think something different. The other day, yesterday, Joe Biden won South Carolina, and he did so after the powerful endorsement of James Clyburn. And my position is this: I was very disappointed in that endorsement. Well, not so much the endorsement in the way he delivered it. James Clyburn is a very powerful speaker, and the message it sent, especially to the world, undermined black people all over. If I had a Coon Award, I would have hung it right around his neck, and I wanted him just to wear it so everybody can see the physical representation of what you are. James Clyburn, you have undermined and set back black struggle in this country for 100 years behind that endorsement. Now, if you want to endorse your friend or whatever, that's fine. But when you start to evoke your dead wife, your struggle through the civil rights march, and attaching it to your children and your grandchildren, bro, you done crossed the line. If you want to be a slave or if you want to be a servant of whites, then that's your choice. But don't put that burden on your children and your grandchildren. He, in endorsing Joe Biden, he reflected back to a time where he was marching and found himself um, in prison, jailed for his protest. He stated that while he was incarcerated, he began to doubt the validity of his motion, of his movement, the reason for him even being in jail. You know, and every civil rights march has something to do with dignity, self-respect, self-determination, something that important. He doubted that, but he stated that he was never fearful. He was never fearful. But now, today, because Donald Trump is president of the United States, now you have fear. And not only do you have fear for yourself, but you have fear for your children and your grandchildren. I don't know how you can, 50 something years ago, when they were killing blacks, especially black leaders, Medgar Evers, Malcolm, Martin Luther King, and you find yourself in the clutches of these people and you don't have no fear. But you did doubt the cause. Self-determination, righting past wrongs, bringing true justice to the unjust. You doubted that. But when you found yourself in the hands and behind the bars of the very same people who have killed all of our leaders, you wasn't afraid. You didn't doubt that. And then to sit up there and signal the world that you're going to place the care and the guidance and direction of your children and your grandchildren in the hands of yet another white person. The same afflictions that's happening to our people has been done by white people. And then you're going to put their hopes in the hands of Joe Biden, who is 78, if not 80 years old. He's not even going to be around when your grandchildren get old. Why not use your voice, use your message to change the course of our people? Why not put the fate of your children and your grandchildren's hands or lives in your own hands? Use your message to say, we've had enough. It's time for us to stop living up under how somebody else interpret we should be, and somebody else's interpretation of what we deserve, how much we should get, what we're entitled to. Why don't you use your voice to galvanize and gather our people so we can live as we decide? Are we never ever in life going to know what it's like to live under a self-governing, self-determined environment? Do every morsel of food we put in our mouth, from you, your children, and your grandchildren, has to come through the channels that profit and empower whites? Every time you use toilet paper to wipe your backside, does it have to put a dime in white man's pocket? We can't own anything. You know what's been done to blacks. If you did to an eagle what you've done to blacks, if whites did to an eagle what they have done to blacks, you know what you would have? A chicken. You will reduce an eagle to a chicken. And when this chicken goes and interacts with other eagles, and what took you so long to get here, I got here as fast as I could. Man, you should have been here hours ago, days ago. What you do? Walk? Yeah, how else am I supposed to get here? Bruh, you an eagle. If you flew, you'd have been here. But you don't know you can fly, because everything about you has been stripped away from you. Your pride, your identity, your heritage, your culture, your language, you even talking funny to your own people. And then you come into the mountains with other chickens. What are you hanging around these guys for? We eat them. What are you bringing us? Dinner? What you mean these your friends? What you mean we supposed to integrate with them? Do you see how silly and ridiculous this is? Do you think these other eagles will send their children to schools to be taught by chickens? And this is what we're doing. We're sending our children, we're placing the hope and prayers and way of life of our children into the hands of people who never knew how to fly. They can't do anything on their own. What do you mean, be equal with a chicken? He can't even fly. So we're supposed to spend the rest of our lives walking around the ground? Are you serious? James Clyburn, you have set back the civil rights movement for 100 years, if not 200. And when you listen to how whites praise him, powerful speaker, when James Clyburn speak, people listen. Yeah, as long as he's speaking that benefits you. But the minute he speak to tell his people to do as I suggest, you'll see a different reaction from the media. We have got to, we cannot continue this way. I cannot look at my children and put their fate in the hands of someone else. Now, if that's what you choose to do, because see, if that's what you choose to do, then that's on you. If you want to be a slave or partial slave or whatever, that's for you to do. But don't want that for your children. You know, I'm gonna everything you do today, you work, you educate, you set examples of what a man, a woman, what couples, what families do, and you teach these to your children so they can do it. So the life that you provided for them, they can provide for their children. This is the way the world should be. But at every turn, whites have decimated and distorted things so much that the word natural order doesn't even apply anymore. It is, I remember a long time ago, I was watching TV and it was a episode, of Good Times where her and her mother was going through some stuff. And Thelma raised up a point and she said, doing that is like being a little pregnant. You know, it's either you're pregnant or you're not. And especially if this person is underage, it was an additional badge of shame that you just hated to bring back to your family, your mother who taught you better than that, your father who's going to be devastated and hurt that his little girl allowed herself to be put in this position. The shame to go in the house and tell your parents that you just let them down in the most personal way imaginable. When I look at myself and my people, I feel just as ashamed. When I envision my ancestors and they ask, are you still a slave? Just a little. And at 50 something years of age, if that don't hurt you, if that don't put some type of regret in your heart and in your mind, I don't know what kind of black, African, Hebrew, Israelite, whatever you want to call yourself. I don't know how you don't feel some type of shame. From this day forward, or when you look up, when you look to see how your efforts have rewarded you? How do you justify today not endeavoring to do something for yourself? We weaken ourselves by integrating with our enemy. Every time you include these white devils into our society, it weakens us economically and damages us socially. I've had too many conversations evolving around the continuation of having these people in our realm. And not one argument that was placed to me that made me second think, second guess, or even doubt my position. I haven't wavered not one bit. There isn't anything you can tell me that would make me want to include these people in our lives for my children and my grandchildren to experience. And if you are any type of a parent whose job is to make a way better for your children than what you had for yourself, if you are any type of human, you would feel the same way. I'm gonna leave it there. But we have got to do better, and we can do better as soon as we get these people out of our society. But it starts in the mind first. It starts in the mind. I'm gonna leave it there. Talk to you soon. I love you all. Bye.